When closeness rises, some people don't run. They vanish in plain sight. Today you'll learn why avoidant partners shut down and what actually helps when the lights go out. Avoidant deactivation is not cruelty or a secret agenda. It is a learned way to feel safe when intimacy starts to feel overwhelming. In practice, it looks ordinary. A partner goes quiet after a warm weekend, pivots to work right after a tender conversation, or slips into a nitpicking thought loop about your flaws right after a moment of affection. Deactivation is the mind's attempt to turn the emotional volume down. Common patterns include emotional numbing, cognitive distancing, turning to tasks instead of people, and an idealization of independence. Many avoidantly leaning people were praised for self-reliance or learned early that needs were inconvenient. In adult relationships, contact and care are desired, but dependence feels risky, so the nervous system applies the brakes. That is deactivation, not a character defect, an overused safety feature. Inside, several systems are busy. Attachment needs activate when closeness increases or separation threatens. But in avoidant patterns, the alarm is felt as crowding rather than longing. The body may register tightness in the chest, fatigue, or a foggy, checked-out feeling. The brain helps by shifting attention toward concrete tasks and away from emotional cues. Cognitive schemas add a story such as, I function best alone. Needing someone means weakness, or if I get too close, I'll be controlled. These are protective interpretations built from earlier experiences. The autonomic nervous system contributes with subtle sympathetic arousal that can feel like irritability or restlessness. To bring that discomfort down, the person unconsciously creates distance. It is a pain avoidance strategy, not an absence of care. In day-to-day life, the same dance repeats. After a deep evening talk, the avoidant partner might wake with a sudden urge to reorganize the garage, take an extra shift, or fix a tiny flaw in the relationship so that closeness has a credible off-ramp. Text threads that were lively yesterday become minimal today. Questions that once opened meaningful exchanges now yield a shrug or a quick "it's fine." The other partner, sensing distance, tries to re-engage with more messages, longer explanations, or a request to talk right now. That pursuit raises the avoidant partner's internal alarm, which makes further withdrawal more likely. If both keep doing what feels safe, the loop escalates. One pursues to feel secure, the other distances to feel safe. Neither is wrong. Both are trying to calm their own nervous systems. The tragedy is that each person's cure is the other person's trigger, so the cycle keeps feeding itself. You can notice early signs without turning them into accusations. Red flags here are not moral verdicts. They are signals that regulation is slipping. Watch for sudden deflation after warmth, where the partner who was affectionate yesterday becomes terse today and frames it as no big deal. Notice if arguments pivot quickly to logistics and performance metrics while feelings vanish from the table. Pay attention to mental scripts that split connection into all or nothing terms, like, if I need space, it means I don't love you. Or, if you need me, you will trap me. Green flags look different. The avoidant partner names the need before disappearing. I notice I'm maxed out and need an hour to reset. I'll be back at 7. They keep small promises around return times, which conditions safety. They allow forms of presence that do not demand conversation, like cooking together in quiet. They practice curiosity about their inner world, even if it is a single sentence. The other partner accepts the pause without punishing silence, keeps their own regulation practices active, and makes requests in clear, time-bounded ways, so the ask feels finite rather than engulfing. Here's a small, real-life style vignette. Maya and Leo have been together for a year. Leo tends to lean avoidant. After a tender weekend trip, Maya feels hopeful and brings up moving in. The talk goes well that night. The next morning, Leo wakes with pressure in his chest and a tight calendar he suddenly must overhaul. Messages turn brief. Maya senses the shift and sends longer texts to reassure and ask for clarity. Leo reads them as pressure. He tells himself he needs to think, but thinking turns into postponing, and postponing becomes avoidance. 2 days pass, and Maya is hurt. When they finally talk, Leo insists nothing is wrong, he just got busy. Maya feels gaslit, even though Leo is not trying to manipulate her. Both are protecting themselves, her from abandonment, him from engulfment. What breaks the loop is not a perfect argument, but a small change in sequence. Leo names the sensation early. I care about you, and I'm at my limit today. I'm going for a long run, then let's talk at 8 for 20 minutes about logistics only, not forever decisions. Maya, hearing a time and a frame, reduces pursuit. She takes a walk, calls a friend, and writes her fears on paper instead of into the chat. At 8, they talk. Not everything is solved, but the cycle weakens because each chose a regulating move that did not corner the other. If you want a mini playbook you can use without making your partner wrong, start with naming, timing, and framing. Naming means each person states their internal state before behavior makes it loud. A simple, I'm reaching my limit, nothing is wrong. I need a pause invites trust because it links withdrawal to care rather than contempt. Timing is about the promise of return. A pause with no end feels like exile. A pause with a return time feels like rest. When you say I will check in at 6 and you do it, you train both nervous systems to expect repair. Framing keeps the task small and the horizon near. Rather than solve the relationship, decide on one next step, like when to talk about the weekend or how to schedule alone time. These 3 moves, naming, timing, and framing, work because they are small, doable, and repeatable. A second set of moves lives in the body, because deactivation is not only cognitive. For the avoidantly leaning partner, choose 1 sensory downshift and 1 engagement microdose. A downshift might be 10 quiet breaths on an exhale count, a short run, or 5 minutes of grounding with a hand on the sternum while noticing 5 things you can see. An engagement microdose is a brief, contained connection that does not demand performance, such as sending a message that says I'm taking space for 40 minutes and I'm here, or sitting together while reading without talking for 15 minutes. These are not romantic flourishes, they are nervous system bridges. For the other partner, the body work is parallel. When you feel the urge to pursue, slow your exhale. Let your eyes move to the horizon and physically turn your shoulders away from the phone for a set period. Tell yourself I can survive this 20-minute gap. Then choose a nourishing task, a shower, a walk, or cooking. Your body learns that brief distance is tolerable, which makes your asks calmer and easier to meet. Language matters. Deactivating partners often fear being judged for needing space, so the aim is to make space relational instead of defensive. That sounds like I want to be present, and I know I do better if I reset first, or I'm overwhelmed, not by you, but by my system. I'm going to regulate and then reconnect at 7. The receiving partner can meet that with thanks for naming it. 7 works, I'll be around. If repair is missed and a rupture grows, keep the repair script simple. I checked out. That wasn't about you. Here is what was happening in me. I'm back and ready to hear you for 10 minutes without fixing anything. Then listen without arguing point by point. Deactivation is allergic to debate about feelings. It responds better to being witnessed, followed by a small concrete step. Beware of common traps. One is testing rather than telling. If you need closeness, ask for a specific moment rather than dropping hints to see if your partner notices. If you need space, ask for it directly instead of manufacturing a fight to earn it. Another trap is using deactivation as a weapon, for example by ignoring messages to punish. That is not regulation, that is control. Finally, watch for self-sufficiency becoming isolation. Independence is a strength, but when it forbids reaching for comfort, love becomes a performance rather than a home. You can keep your autonomy and still let someone know where you are, both physically and emotionally. When the pattern is stubborn or trauma is part of the picture, the work shifts from tips to containment. If shutdowns are accompanied by dissociation, panic, or memories that feel stuck in the body, self-help likely won't be enough. That does not mean you are broken. It means your system learned to survive in harsher weather, and new tools require a steadier hand. Trauma-informed therapy can help you feel feelings in a way that does not swamp you. Emotionally focused work can offer structured dialogues, where both partners learn to state needs, without collapsing into old roles. If there is emotional or physical abuse, prioritize safety. Space becomes a boundary, not a strategy. Reach trusted friends, a counselor, or local services. Document episodes if you need to. If there are children, remember that seeing adults restore connection calmly is a gift. Seeing them freeze and flee on repeat is confusing. Model pauses with returns. Protect your sleep, eat regularly. Bodies that are barely resourced will choose speed over tenderness, and deactivation loves speed. There is hope in small practice. Imagine making micro contracts, such as we do 5 minutes of check-in after dinner, no fixing, or we name one feeling each morning before work. Treat those as reps, not verdicts. If you miss a rep, do the next one. Track the ratio of connection attempts to successful returns. Celebrate progress in ordinary words. A simple "I noticed you came back when you said" goes farther than a lecture. Let affection be imperfect. Many avoidantly leaning partners show love through competence and acts rather than long talks. Let that count as love while also asking for a sliver of language, because words are bridges too. You can be a deeply independent person and still be deeply connected. Deactivation is a skill that once kept you safe, and now it needs calibration. Space is allowed, banishing is optional. Needs are allowed. Pursuing yourself to exhaustion is optional. Build the habit of naming before you disappear, promising a return and keeping it, and using your body to anchor you when your mind wants to sprint. Do this not to fix yourself, but to make love easier to receive. If this is very hard right now, shrink the horizon. Choose a single experiment for the next week. For avoidantly leaning listeners, try ending one evening by saying where your dial is on closeness from 0 to 10. Nothing more, no discussion. For the pursuing partner, practice one structured ask, such as "I would like a 10-minute call tomorrow at 6. A yes or a counteroffer is fine. If either of you is already flooded, pause the conversation altogether and re-enter only after sleep and food. If you feel isolated or unsafe, widen your circle on purpose. Tell one friend the truth, schedule one professional consult, or contact local supports. You do not need to earn care by being less sensitive or more stoic. You can simply ask. If this supported you, you can subscribe or share it with someone who might feel less alone hearing it. Gentle growth spreads through small conversations, and yours could be the one someone needed today.